There are few buildings as famous as the Sydney Opera House in Sydney, Australia. Arguably considered the eighth wonder of the world, the Opera House has a long history behind its design. The story behind this magnificent structure began in 1956 when the New South Wales government called an open competition for the design of two performance halls, for opera and for symphony concerts, that would put Sydney on the map. The Danish architect John Utzon was unknown for his work at the time, yet his entry for the competition, which consisted of a few simple sketches, intrigued the famous Eero Saarinen, who was part of the jury. Construction of the Sydney Opera House began in March 1959 after the demolition of the existing Fort Macquarie tram depot. The project was built in three phases: the foundation and building of the podium overlooking the Sydney harbour, the construction of the outer shells, and the construction of the interior. Between 1957–1963, in the midst of the construction of the podium, Utzon and Arup worked on developing a shell system that would make the original spherical scheme structurally possible. 12 iterations later, they came up with a solution that consisted of a ribbed system of precast concrete shells created from sections of a sphere. This system permitted each rib to be built up of a number of standard segments cast in a common mold at the site. Utzon wanted the shells to be portrayed like large whale sails, in contrast to the deep blue waters of the ocean it stood upon. In order to achieve this aesthetic, the shells are covered with 1,056,066 ceramic tiles made in Sweden from clay and crushed stone. Along with the placement of the tiles, it took 11 years to complete the iconic roof structure. On February 28, 1966, after a long battle with the New South Wales government because of the rising construction costs as the concrete shells were progressing towards the completion, Utzon resigned from the project. Despite a 3,000 signature protest for Utzon's reinstatement, the government appointed three Australian architects, Peter Hall, D.S. Littlemore, and Lionel Todd, to complete the project. After the 2,194th precast shell segment was installed in 1967, the second stage of the project was finished. At the third and final stage of the project, under the supervision of the newly appointed architects, Utzon's original design was significantly changed. At the request of the Australian Broadcasting Commission, the proposed main hall that was originally designed as a multi-purpose opera concert became a space solely for concerts, thus titled the Concert Hall, which is able to accommodate 2,800 people. The minor hall, originally intended for stage productions, was changed to house operas and ballets and was called the Opera Theatre. Grand external staircases lead into these two main auditoriums, marking an entrance that visitors are unlikely to forget. Due to the switch of the main halls, however, the Opera Theatre is now too small to stage large opera and ballet productions. Three smaller theatres, a library, and a cinema were also added to the original design, along with 3 restaurants, 6 bars, and 60 dressing rooms. The building has a total of 1,000 rooms with access through a concourse that encircles the entire building and links the 5 performance spaces. The building was completed and opened by Queen Elizabeth II in October of 1973. With an original estimate of $7 million, the budget was vastly exceeded, with a final cost of $102 million. In 1989, the government was informed the Opera House would need repairs that would cost approximately $86 million due to fallen tiles and deterioration of the structural ribs. However, this excessive cost was the price paid in order to turn the Sydney Opera House into monument of technology, society, and the world during the 20th century. In 2007, it was made a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with ancient landmarks such as the Stonehenge. In 2003, John Utzon was awarded the Pritzker Prize 5 years before his death in 2008. Due to the political issues that led to his resignation years before, the architect never returned to Australia to experience his finished masterpiece that is regarded as one of the greatest structures ever created.